quite simply, we're the same and we're not. Know what I'm saying? Listen, son, I ain't better than you. I just think different.
I said fruit. Yay. I like fruit. Okay.
She's hungry.
I am. No, I'm not, actually. I don't even know. I'm just thinking of food.
Hi, my name is Citlali Rios.
Shirai Reynolds,
And my name's Estrella Marquez. I will be playing the modern day kid.
the founding father.
As a parent,
First off, we have John Adams over here, our founding father. John Adams, on 4th of July, you signed the Declaration of Independence, and we, as students, were just informed that women were not included in the document. How does that affect women, and how does that affect women now and back then?
Well then, in my day, which was 1775, when I was about to sign it, my wife, as you know, Abigail Adams, sent me a letter. She sent me a letter saying that she wanted us to include women. I said, no, you muling quim. Go back to your work and have more babies. And while you're at it, make me some breakfast, some bacon breakfast. But then I realized that I was wrong because that was my wife. She is a human being, not my servant or my slave. She's my wife, and I should have treated her like my wife. But now that I am back here at this very spot doing this introduction to you guys, I see that there are beautiful women now. They are older and they are working. They're getting a free education, or they're getting a education, and they're being treated with respect. They're being treated like human beings. And right now, as I sit at this table, I see that we are, as the people that were signing the Declaration of Independence, we were wrong.
So, my second question for you, John Adams, is you used to have slaves, correct? Well, now that you see them out and about and walking and basically free, how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel quite surprised because we, as the founding fathers, we didn't have that in mind. We weren't even thinking about color black people. But we included them because, well, we didn't include them at first, but they were just slaves, basically useless people that would help us about. And now that we see them walking around freely, we now realize how wrong we were because they're people as well. They're just as equal as us, and we shouldn't have treated them like they're savages or they have no sort of human rights. And them and along with the other minorities, they are very helpful. They help us. Now that I see them, I think that we were wrong again for not including colored people.
my question for you, founding father, is what would happen if you actually communicate with other countries?
You mean if the U.S. Constitution wasn't here?
Correct.
Well, if the U.S. Constitution wasn't here, back then we were thinking that we should have an alliance with France, as you know. We wanted to have this because Britain and France, they weren't really in an agreement at that time. Actually, they kind of hated each other. I should know, I used to be British. And we realized that with them on our side, we would have the opportunity, the upper hand, to just beat Britain, tell them that this is our land and you will not mess with it, along with a little bit of something with France. But what we didn't think about was that France, they're in debt as well too. But we didn't think like, what if our situation with Britain would go with France as well? So we made a constitution that held us down, so that way we wouldn't be able to talk to other countries. We would be our free country ourselves, and we would establish that with the Declaration of Independence that this is our land and this is what we do, and others as well. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you, the parent, is what is the difference between the American dream of the past to now?
Well, the difference is back then we used to be fighting. Well, not exactly fighting, but we used to be working for England, and serving them, and we have slaves and everything. But now we're kind of still fighting in the equation. The difference instead fighting other countries like England, we're kind of like still fighting now in our society in the country of America, because there's some people are still racist, some people are against from each other. So yeah.
Okay. And the next question is, how do you think America relates?
Idea.
How do you think America ideals would differ if we hadn't won the war and didn't have the Declaration of Independence?
I believe if we hadn't won the war and didn't have the Declaration of Independence, we wouldn't have our freedom, and we were probably still serving England, as I said before, and probably have the kings and queens once again, and slaves, and we wouldn't have the freedom like we have today right now, as we want today. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think about the future of America?
What I think about the future is, I believe the good part about it is that we are getting along, and like everybody from around the world are together, and nobody is really against each other as much anymore of living this state. But at the same time, I believe it's not going to be that well, because people still there's still racism, there's other people are against with other kinds of people, and it could be fighting involved, like gang members. And my question to the children, well, kids, is how do you feel about John Adams' response to Abigail Adams' letter if it was you?
If I were Abigail Adams, pardon, I'd probably be quite mad, because the letter that she sent to him was saying, don't forget about them, don't forget about, women, and that it's important to realize that girls, if you may, aren't just there to be used. They're there to be people, because after all, they're the same species. And so back then, there's a lot of abuse towards women, because they were seen as just to be there as sex slaves, if you will, and to do cooking, cleaning, and take care of children. They were a reproductive system. And the response that Abigail Adams got back from her husband, John Adams, was something of a slap in the face, saying that that's what they are, that's what women will kind of always be. And if I could, back in the day, I'd probably divorce him, because saying something that is quite offensive, if you may, is very rude. I mean, women did and do deserve respect. And I would be quite infuriated if I had gotten that response back from John Adams, and if I was his wife.
And my second question is, did you know George Washington was not the first to sign the Declaration of Independence?
I did actually know that. I can't necessarily recall in what grade or what time period that I had learned that, but I did know that George Washington wasn't the first to sign it. He was in fact in New York at the time, helping Manhattan against the Brits. He was trying to make sure that they were more or less protected, and he was fighting a war. He was trying to help his country, or his new founding country.
Right. And my last question for you is, did you feel as though the true American dream has been achieved?
I feel like the true American dream has technically been achieved, for the fact that, rich white old men were kind of top priority then. But if it was a complete all equal thing where it dealt with blacks, whites, any other color you can think of, it has been achieved. I mean, there's a lot more that's been going on. There's so many different things that have been happening within our government, within us as people, where we've expanded more. We have the LGBTQ. We have some gun restrictions, but it's, I mean, necessarily, I mean, not the worst thing that could happen. But overall, the American dream has been achieved because there's a lot more freedom than we had then. And as we go on into the future, I think there's going to be a lot more too.
Okay, and my second question to you is, did you know that George Washington was not the first to sign the Declaration of Independence?
I actually did know about that. I learned it a long while ago. I don't necessarily remember what grade. But a long while ago, I did learn that the Declaration of Independence wasn't signed by him, or at least not first, because at that time, he was in New York, Massachusetts, I believe. And he was there trying to prevent them being overrun by the Brits. He was trying to make sure that the British didn't get to them. And I guess more or less trying to protect them. He was at war and trying to make sure that everybody was kind of, safe and unified.
And my
Manhattan. It was fucking Manhattan. Not Massachusetts. God damn it. Sorry.
Okay, my last question for you is, did you feel as through the true America dream has been achieved?
I can't really say that the true American dream has been fully achieved. I mean, the American dream was kind of based off of course, rich white old people who could kind of have their own freedom, I guess you could say. Where, I mean, they included some things about colored people, but a lot of it was mostly about them being able to do what they want. I mean, I guess if it wasn't just about rich white people, it would and spread towards everybody, regardless of color, sexuality, whatever it may be. I think that the true American dream has been achieved for the most part. I mean, there's a lot more equality back from now than there was back then. So I think that part has been definitely accomplished in our lives, on top of which, I mean, the American dream's always changing, so even if it's not the quote-unquote real dream, the real American dream, it's still a dream that's been accomplished for the most part.
All right, thank you.
Okay, good job! We're done! And we might be back.
Wait. Let me do this.
Yo, check it out. I want you to pay attention to this. You know what I'm saying? Listen up. Alright? Yo, you bust land so do I. Except mine impregnates the page, giving birth to thoughts and unify.
Mexicans and others as well. And we will totally include it next time. Huh?
Mexicans didn't exist then.
Mexicans didn't exist.
Kishnik had a whole entire
My words uplift, yours are poisonous like venom. I'm an MC, you're a rapper. I'm as real as they come, while half the guys you idolize are just actors. Run from commitment, I remain loyal.